Yeah. So we're gonna get the big thing. One sec. One sec. One, two. In the place to be. Right cross by Zarafa. Return right hand by Ortiz. Watching the highlights. Left hook. Check left hook by Michael Zarafa. Then right hook over the top. He lands again. Puts his opponent down. The Australian in charge. Looking for the finish. Ortiz looking worse for wears. Are they going to send him out? No, they don't. It's a stoppage win for Michael Zarafa. He called out Chris Eubank Jr. But then again, so did James DeGill and so did Kell Brook. Yeah. Everybody wants a piece of the banks because they know it's a payday, you know? Chris coming off a loss, still a commodity, you know? Hmm. James DeGill wants the rematch, huh? Teremoana versus Deandre Savage from America. Basically a bootleg Deontay, but can he core the stereo? Can he bring off a great upset down under? Still the thunder. Yeah. Big up all the boxing fans in the building. If you're not a boxing fan, you have no need to be here. It's simple as that. We are covering the card down under in Oz. Yes. With your main man. Boxing Bizeets and Rhymes. I'm gonna come for Rampart skin teeth. See? Big yourself up. I don't know if he's got devastating power yet. This Teremoana. I mean, he's been fighting Bambies at the moment, isn't it? Like, I mean, we have to see when he steps up, see if he's really a knockout puncher. But Eddie is a salesman. Right? Tony Harrison, Deontay bootleg, Deandre Savage's trainer. He was saying, "Could you be a car salesman, Eddie? You can sell anything, man. You know what I mean? You made Terramana sound like you be the second coming and all that." And it's true. Eddie does do our sales pitch, don't he? Eddie our sales pitch. You know what I mean? Andrew Maloney in the building. Did Ted Kofi used to fight? I don't know. I know there's an echo. I need to kill it. Undefeated 20-year-old. What was it? What's the record like? Yeah. Yes, people. Just in time. I rushed back for this, man. And I've got to rush back out after. (11-0) with 11 knockouts, 28 years of age. Is he a genuine puncher? Or is the matchmaking just been favorable? Is this a step up? They're saying it's a step up. What's the guy's recce? What's his box recce? All right, he's 11-1-0. All right. Oh, he's got 11 knockouts as well. Is he in shape? Is he one of them American heavyweights who's been on the buffet table on the Twinkies and hot dogs and burgers? Are you one of them? It's hard to tell. You're wearing a black t-shirt. The black t-shirts are very deceptive. You know what I'm saying? You get me? Right. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still there. But it's not a bodybuilding contest at the same time. So, you get me? Ah, we got a man from Tasmania in the building. Knocked out 100 binmen. Yeah, no links available. Don't come here looking for a link. Don't come looking for a link. It says no footage available on the title. Big up Jeffro. Yo. Let's do this, man. We've got Tasmanians in the building supporting Teremoana. Ah, I see. I see what you guys are dealing with. I see what you guys are cooking with, man. Yeah. I see what you guys are cooking with. The Tasmanians in the bin. Bass is rocking, hitting that cranium. I get wild just like a Tasmanian devil. Will we get a few rounds? Yeah, man. It's all good, isn't it? Midweek boxing. Australia with their awkward times, you know what I'm saying? With their awkward timings. So what? So he's from the Maori tribe, yeah? The Maori tribe. All right, he's coming out like he's won already. Extremely confident, man. He's having a party before the fight started. Watch him now. Okay, he looks relaxed anyway. That's just his way. All right. He's dialed in. He's saying he's dialed in. It's just his style, isn't it? It's just his style. 10 p.m. in Australia. Yeah. 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 10 p.m. So what are we? 13 hours behind? Or no, we're 13 out. You're 13 hours behind us. Bloody hell. I didn't realize it was that much. Hmm. Well, Deontay. Let's see what you got. If you could punch like Deontay, prime Deontay, it should be interesting, isn't it? He's got 11 knockouts. All right. They're getting very animated now. So, oh, he's from Flint at the Super Bad Academy. Oh, he's at 12 fights, actually. Yeah, 11 wins. Now, who's got the more deceptive record? Who did he lose against? From Brisbane, Queensland. It's Flint, Michigan. Mm. Well, with all the knockouts they've got between them, we have to expect another knockout in this fight. It just depends who gets it. The Australians are amped up, aren't they? Look at them, they're amped up. They expect big things from this guy. Yeah, he's not in shape, Deandre. Not in shape. But then again, he's not in aesthetic shape. Can he fight though? Uh, it's not bodybuilding, is it? Doesn't look like he's going to have the footwork to get away from punches. So he might have that Midwest upper body movement. He'll need it. He's going to need it. He's going to need it. If he ain't going to use his legs, because I can't see him using legs with all that bulk he's carrying. All right. Snaps the jab. Teremoana. The taller man. Definitely lighter on his feet. Looks ponderous, Savage. Looks very ponderous. But you would do with all that he's carrying. He's not in the best condition. That 1-2 is there for him. He knows it. Savage looking to counter. Now, if Teremoana falls in as he punches, there could be a counter. That was a decent right hand. Actually, used his defense pretty well, Savage, to not take the full lick of that. We could end up in the canvas. First round with these heavies, you get caught with anything solid. Nice 1-2 by Teremoana. It's there for him. It's there for him. Oh, lovely double left hook from Teremoana, looking sharp. Sharp as a shank. You know what I'm saying? Double jab from Savage. So he could be pretty ambitious. It doesn't land. There's a great 1-2 by Teremoana. He's trying to get off early and get this guy out early. They're saying, well, the experts are saying he needs rounds. He doesn't care about that. He wants to get the guy out of there. That 1-2, which I called early before he threw it. I mean, there it is again, 1-2. And as I suspected, the feet are not getting Savage out the range, and his upper body is not going to do it. He's not in shape to do it. He's trying to use his reflexes here, and he's not in shape. You got to keep them gloves up higher. Teremoana circling to his right, looking for that big right hand. Didn't use the jab that time. First round, still 15 seconds left. Great combination by Teremoana. Savage eating shots now. It's not looking promising. Bad first round for Savage. Very bad round. Not good. All he showed was the ability to take punishment there. Yeah. Not impressed by Savage. Not in shape. Brewers loss in the building. Got the bars. Jeffro says them island boys are fierce. Maori style, yeah? You're saying they're fierce, yeah? Essenway, Australia. Zarafa won in round 8. Jeffro, Teremoana boxes tall. He is the goods. Coppin on 9. Savage leans back like Big Baby Anderson. Red flag. Yeah. Only thing, he's not in the same shape that Anderson is. I think Anderson is more athletic. So it doesn't give much hope to Savage, does it? Jabs to the body, Savage. Tries to switch it up. Can't follow it up. He just doesn't have the foot speed. Teremoana just backs up. Circles to his right. Looking to place his jab for that 1-2. Taking his time. Savage trying to keep them gloves high. He drops the left though. Jabs to the torso again. The torso jabs looks like the best punch for Savage right now to stabilize the movement of Teremoana. Teremoana looking for that big right hand. Savage, he managed to get inside. He got caught though, and he hung on. It landed cleaner than what I thought it did. Savage is hurt. Not looking good for Savage. Okay, Savage pretty tough though. Getting caught with his head up in the air. Then down he goes. Tried to use his reflexes and it was never a goal, was it? This one's over. Down he goes. Right hand sends him down. He doesn't want it. Oh, submission. Second round finish. Yep. Teremoana in a second. Do they need to up the levels? I don't think he's really getting much out of this level here. Yeah, quittage. I agree. Quittage. Quit job. He could have got up. Let's have a look at the slow-mo replay. There's that right hand, great right hand that shook him to his boots, didn't it? He's holding on for Diaz. He's looking at his corner, looking at the referee. There's that jab, and there's that 1-2 again. There's that right hand. A 1-2 and another right hand finished him off. It didn't even hit him on the chin. He didn't want it. He done what he had to do. Done what he had to do. All right, let's go to the box rec. Yeah, he's 12-0, 12 inside the distance. Second round knockout. Wow. He hasn't gone beyond 2 rounds in his career. I mean, his last 8 before this all ended in a round. Wow. Yeah, man. Maybe they could just keep him busy, keep him knocking over bums. Maybe that's the formula, or step him up. There's 2 ways they can go. He's 28. He looked pretty good though, with that 1-2. Nice and loose, smooth, pretty quick hands. What's up, Tone? Everything good? Put him in with Martin Bacoli and see what he can do, says Jeffro. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Spencer, not Spencer. I think Fraser Clark was looking for a fight. That'd be a good fight. I think Fraser Clark and this guy here would be very good. I mean, Fraser, he's just lost to the likes of Teremoana's countryman, Justice Hooney. Not too long ago, he lost to Jamie TKV, and he hasn't got much more fights than Teremoana. So they should be ready for a Fraser Clark. That's the fight I would pitch for, is a Fraser Clark fight. Fraser said he was looking for a big name. That's a good fight. Fraser's 35 now. He needs a big win. He's never had a big win in his career. Yeah, I mean, he's only had 14 pro fights. Yeah, that's the fight I would pitch for. It's a Fraser Clark fight. Yeah, both Olympians, Jeffro. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was very short, sweet, precise. And he said Eddie Hearn's going to take him all the way to the top, to the tit up. Are the WBO going to strip Noah McKellion? I mean, listen, don't no one talk to me about no Muhammad Ali yet, bro. You know what I mean? Don't nobody mention that shit to me. What AJ and Fury undercard? Eddie Hearn said he's going to pull out of the fight if they put it in New York. Eddie should keep a lot of what he says off camera. He really should. He talks too effing much, bro. Just keeping it real. Happy 53rd birthday for Cool Herc. Are they trying to say Cool Herc is 53? Are they saying hip hop is 53 years of age? They're saying hip hop, okay. Because Cool Herc ain't no 53, boy. He's older than 53. They're talking about hip hop. Cedric Ave, yeah? 53 years. Hmm. All right. Eddie Hearn is saying this guy could be the heavyweight champion. Yeah, keep him active. I don't think they're going to go for a mad step up right now. They're going to probably give him a couple more cupcakes. Yeah, he needs to be active, Coppin. When you're winning in 1 round, 2 round, you know what I mean? Just keep him active. He probably could have another fight in between when they get the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight going, because we don't know when that is. New soon with Cameron Vaughn, says Sam Jones. Like what? After them 2 fights with the Welsh guy, kind of lost a bit of steam, isn't he? Elif Turhan, MVP, add Turhan to roster in co-promotion with Matchroom Boxing. So she joins Sky Nicholson in this new collaboration deal. Interesting. They're questioning if Terence Crawford could be preparing for a comeback. Footage of Crawford training alongside Lester Martinez ahead of Martinez's August the 29th clash with Luka Plantic has fans talking. Could we eventually see Crawford return for a showdown with Boots Ennis? Well, Crawford said he was just staying in shape to help my guy prepare, to help Lester Martinez prepare. But I had a feeling there could be more to it than that. Long right hand from Teremoana, leading with them left hooks. I mean, Deandre really tried to use his reflexes with the shape he was in. It was just horrible formula, wasn't it? Like he needed to get his chin down and get on Teremoana's chest, man. That's the only plan of action I could see for him. What was he doing? The jab to the torso was the way forward, but he needed to keep his chin down and really take it to this guy. You're trying to use your reflexes like you're Nassim Hamid or something. That's crazy, bro. Madness. Now, what was I looking to research? Oh, Lester Square Martinez. That's what I wanted to. I mean, let's see if he's got some kind of strap. Everyone seems to have a strap these days. Yeah, WBC interim. I mean, bloody hell. The amount of the belts are just really just mugging boxing off, aren't they? The amount of belts just mugging off boxing badly. Right. Christian and Billy has the full title. He defends against Canelo. 5 champions at the weight class, people. Five. Five. 5 champions at the weight class. I mean, it's just like an absolute sham of a sport, man. 5 champions. Hamza Shiraz and Billy Martinez, Munguia, Iglesias. Nobody's talking about a unification tournament to clean it up. Nobody. Nobody. But yeah, the WBO and WBC want to plot and order unifications because it suits their politics. Like how the sanctioning bodies are surviving right now, it's a source of frustration for me. One of the biggest sources frustrate. I would like to see a lot of the sanctioning belt shareholders put out to grass. I really would. I really would. Considering that I'm paying subscription for these platforms, it's just like, you know what I feel like? I feel like someone just mugging me off. And I'm someone who prides myself not getting mugged off for my money. I just feel like someone's mugging me off. Yeah, feed him to Johnny Fisher. Nah, Zuffa ain't doing that. Zuffa might feed Johnny Fisher to David Adelaide. That's who they might feed him to. Coppin09 says, put him straight on the Moses card, even if that means fighting a cab driver. Keep him going. Yeah, that's a point. That's a point. Tone says, Fisher bounced to Zuffa. Yeah. The money, Tone. All about that money. Jeffro, I really like his form. He moves great for a big guy. See, he's generating the power from his relaxation, and you can see him singing and dancing on his way to the ring. But this is a relatively low level of competition. But so far, so good. If he can keep that composure as he steps up, yeah, he's a threat. He's a threat. He's definitely a threat. Tone says, until there's unifications, they're all just belt holders, in my opinion. Yeah, 100%. They're nothing more than belt holders. And one of the reasons they've survived, Tone, is because sometimes we make the mistake of saying, oh, that's a world champion. And they're not world champions. You're a belt holder. You know what I mean? How much countries won the World Cup this year? No. One country won it. Spain, yeah? Yeah. One country won the World Cup, Spain. I had a little bit of a brain block there. I'm getting really flipping dodgy with my brain functions, man. You know what I mean? How did I forget that? There's one World Cup winner, and that's the world. They're the world champions, right? How are you a world champion? There's another 4 fighters that five champions in the weight class. Five. And if you go up to one of them or their manager or their fans and you say, well, I think Mbili is better than Shiraz, the Shiraz fans are going to say, no, Shiraz is better. This is bull crap. Oh, they're way worse than FIFA. Tone says, can't blame Fisher. Probably a realist. He lost to Dave Allen to get that payday. Oh, he had to do what he had to do. You know? I mean, he's got to keep his old man in food. His old man's lost a couple of pounds, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, you're right. Teremoana fought Jalalov, but Jalalov is moving at a snail's pace at the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah, missed opportunity, Keyshawn Davis. Hmm. Wow. But Eddie hyping him up, man. Who would win out of let me put the match up first. Eddie doing his job, man. Eddie just doing his job, innit? That's what Eddie does. He's there to hype up the product, and Eddie's pushing hard to get him on that card, man. Eddie's pushing hard. Marketing and promotion. Coppend, he watched Zab Judah two interviews with Ward and Berto. Great insight in both. Decided to rewatch Floyd versus Zab. First 6 rounds was a high-speed chess match. Tons of adjustments by both. Yeah, great fight. I mean, Zab's foot and hand speed at 140 and 147. Something else, isn't it? Probably one of the fastest fighters around that weight. Tony's really looking forward to Moses versus Hergovich. Got a feeling it'll be a good one while it lasts. Any possibility of an upset, you reckon? I've been mulling over the possibilities of an upset. I wouldn't be shocked if there was an upset. Tourman. I think Teremoana and Parker should be a good bout. Now Parker's been cleared. Put the Island boys against each other. Why would Joseph Parker take that fight? Be a silly fight for Joseph Parker to take. You know what I mean? There's no way. There's no way Joseph Parker should take that fight. You know what I mean? The only person who has anything to gain is Teremoana. Parker wants to fight ranked contenders, man. He's a former champion. He's fought Wilder. He's beat Wilder. He's been in there with a prime Joe Joyce, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora. Then he's going to fight this guy here. Let my guy get his props up, man. Get your weight up, and then pitch him in there with Parker. Coppin said, agreed. Eddie is speaking too much, lasting 18 months. Eddie Coppin agrees. Eddie is speaking too much, last 18 months or so. Tone, he says, Eddie been talking way too much for donkeys. It's a part of his shtick. Yeah, just too much verbals, bro. Too much verbals. Jeffro, best chicken dance from Zabdu. Big up October Red. Eddie said it's time to build, no rush. Yeah, just keep him active. You know, see, when you're looking at a heavyweight like this blowing people away, when you put him in with someone like Parker, then you realize the big gap in quality that he's been facing. And it could be all over. I mean, you push him up to Joseph Parker level. I'm not saying it would be, but it could be all over. Big up October Red. Cop in 09. Yeah, if you're Parker, you fight Dylan, a high profile fight. Yeah, that's a good fight. The rematch, because Dylan's got the W over him. And it's a winnable fight for Parker. Getting back on the road to establishing himself. Yeah, the WBC are on a hiding to nothing, man. They're on a hiding to nothing. You strip Noah McKellen, you're on a hiding to nothing. How was Mike Tyson built strategically? Well, his first opponent was Hector Mercedes. I believe that was in 1985. By 1987, he was undisputed heavyweight champion. You think about that, right? But he had about 30 plus fights. And some people say, oh, he fought all stiffs. No, they weren't all stiffs. When you think about the Cuban, Jose Rebalta, he was a very good heavyweight. 6'6", long telescopic jab, and pretty durable. Mike said that's the first fight he had as a pro that he went home and he couldn't knock his Richard off because his body was just sore and aching. Guys like James Tillis fought Mike Weaver for the heavyweight title and gave Mike a very good contest. The likes of Mitch Blood Green were very athletic, competent fighters. The likes of Jesse Ferguson was very competent. I think that was Mike's first breakout fight because what Jacobs, Cuss, and as what did Duncan call him, Satan, Bill Clayton, what they did, because Mike didn't have no amateur pedigree, he lost twice in the Olympic trials. He lost to Tyrrell Biggs. And then, first of all, he lost to Tillman twice. And then they tried to move him up to super heavy. And then he lost to Biggs in the Olympic tryouts. So they turned him pro. And his first batch of fights was very clever what they did. They recorded all the fights themselves. And they started cutting up his fights into highlight reels because it was pure knockouts, yeah? And they were giving it to the press, the media, and he just built up a big buzz. He just built up a huge buzz in that tri-state region. And then by the time he went to ESPN, he fought Jesse Ferguson. And this one was a little dodgy. He gave Jesse a beating. And then Jesse was holding on after he took that right uppercut. He went down and he just held on for dear life. The referee disqualified Jesse, but they turned the win into a knockout for Mike to keep his knockout streak going. Now, that's not uncommon for promoters to use such tricks. Chavez did it. Julio Cesar Chavez, his manager Ramon Felix, when Chavez was around 12-0 in Colican, he was disqualified against his name. What was his name? Was it Ruiz? An opponent named Ruiz, I believe. And Chavez's manager, Ramon Felix, he was connected to the Colican board, and they changed the result to a TKO win. I mean, so there's always politics going on. And they had a great marketing strategy. I think it was you who gave me the video, October, of Jacobs saying how they built Mike up or how they went about selecting opponents. We select opponents that when people come to see Mike Tyson, they say, when is he fighting again? We need to see him fight again. You know what I mean? And it worked brilliantly. It worked absolutely brilliantly. He was built up brilliantly. And no, they weren't all well beat as he was fighting, but they kept him so active. He was so active. Like, Mike seemed to be fighting every week because them days, for a boxing fan like myself, it was the Boxing News, Ring Magazine, KO Magazine. The Boxing News was weekly. The American publications was monthly. And every time you picked up the magazine, Mike Tyson was fighting without fail. He was fighting, knocking someone else out. Now, one of the reasons they kept him so busy wasn't just to develop him as a pugilist. Mike would get into trouble. Mike would leave the Catskill Mountains, go back to his old haunts in New York, and get himself in a lot of trouble. So they kept him as active as possible. And how much times did he fight in 1985? All right, let's have a look here. Yeah? So when he fought David Jaco, let's have a look. How much times he fought? Crazy. Let's have a look. They fought so much back then, man. One sec. He fought 15 times in 1986. 15 times. 15 times alone in 1986. And then in 1985, I should say. Fought 15 times in 1985. So they just kept him ultra busy. And then by 86, he was fighting Trevor Berbick late in 1986 for the WBC title. You know? And he won spectacularly, then won the tournament. Problem was, though, after he won the unification tournament, Don King really had his grip on Mike. Like, he poisoned him against his trainer, Kevin Rooney, against Caton. You know what really done the job is Jacobs. Jim Jacobs passed away. If Jim Jacobs hadn't have passed away, Don King would have found it very hard to persuade Mike to leave his old team, Steve Lott, etc. And yeah, still had a great career. Still one of the greatest. Still one of the greatest. Coppend, he says, Jeffro, Zab sticking it on the ref was wrong, but funny. Oh, Jay Nady, he went crazy, didn't he? He just lost the plot, man. Like, he was telling Yo, his dad, yeah, I'm okay. But he tried to distract him so he could get back at Jay. Didn't he throw the stool at him as well? He just lost the plot. Tone, I remember watching a recording of that tape. I was bunking off school. Went to my pal's house. He slipped in that VHS. I couldn't believe how young Mike was. The tape worked because I was hyped. Yeah. Mike was a shot of life into boxing. A shot of life. He really was. Who would win out of Josh Taylor and Amir Khan? Who you guys got? I don't really do fantasy matches, but I think that one's interesting. Prime for prime. Who would win? Who you guys got? Yeah, World Boxing News blocked me. For what reason? Well, I did talk some crap about them in videos. Let me not pretend. I did talk some crap about them. You know what I mean? Screw them. Their bias against British boxing at times is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're asking who would win out of Hay versus Benavides. But like Joe Beeb is saying, what makes you think Benavides would fight Hay when he refuses to fight Jai? It's a great point. It's a great point. I can see like Benavides will see David Hay flattening Enzo Macronelli and won't want no parts of the smoke. Wouldn't want no parts of the smoke, man. Tone said, if Khan boxed and didn't dangle his chin, I'd go for him, UD. Yeah, it'd be a good fight though. Imagine the build up for that, man, in the UK. Well, like if it was 2026, Turkey would probably steal the fight from the UK. We bring it over into here, the cheddar, you know, for cheddar. We give you here the cheddar, you can get cheddar. Yeah. It's easy to say in hindsight, but do you know how much power Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn gave up? Outsourcing all that content. Now the market is destabilized. Now the fighters don't care if they've got to go where they've got to go to fight. Now they're expecting exorbitant prices, and if DAZN can't pay it, they'll go over to TKO to get it. But it's easy to say in hindsight, isn't it? But they should have probably laid down some stipulations and conditions. You can't take all that content to where you want to take it, no matter what. If Frank and Eddie had stood in unison and say, yeah, we'll work with you, you know, we'll work with you. We appreciate the cash injection, but British boxing is British boxing. Big up October. She said she's been saying this. Yeah, British boxing is British boxing, isn't it? And now they've kind of found themselves in a bit of a jam, we have to say. They're in a bit of a jam. This Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. Just makes British boxing just look horrible. All we care about is the dough. Like Kell Brook, James DeGale, Eubank, all coming back. Wow. Tone said, I'm glad you said it. They neglected the British market for bigger things. Now it's biting them. Yes, it is biting them. What Tyson? Tyson Fury versus Tua? Who wins? Mike Tyson too fast for him. It's too quick for David Tua. It's too quick. It's too quick. Prime Mike Tyson's too quick for David Tua. Mike's hand speed with like David tough. Like he's got a good chin. Maybe he could weather Mike's power, right? But Mike beats him to the punch all the time. He beats him to the punch. Mike just too fast. Mike's hand speed was ridiculous. October says she's not even talking about the fights anymore, Beats. Yeah. So done. It's done as, yeah? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's actually become toxic. The discussion about that fight has become toxic. Copping 09. Saunders, yeah, he looked in shape, innit? Hinting at something. But what, though? Big up Gerard. He says, big up. I remember that WBN pushing the full Wilder narrative and that Joshua was ducking him, etc. They do not like British boxers, are extremely biased. I remember one time, right? I read one of their narratives, yeah, on Luke Campbell versus Ryan Garcia. And they went into all these reasons why the fight had to happen in the USA. And it was so biased. I think they've had a beef with me since then. They've had a beef with me since then. Big up, Gerard. Yeah, people, hit the like. If you can hit the like, it would be appreciated. Jeffro, he reckons Mike would have done him, I reckon. Yeah, I think like prime Mike, just too quick. He had quicker feet as well. He had quicker feet. And the hand speed was just ridiculous. Big up Derek Clark. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Teremoana is promising. He's promising. He is promising. I want to big up Anthony Mackham, live from the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. Yeah, so good. Appreciate the super chat as well, Anthony. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I tell you what, yeah. The best thing Britain should do, like, but they can't. Like, if Frank could get Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua say, no, look, if we can't work the fight out in Britain, we'll just walk and leave it. That'd be the best thing. Be the best thing right now. It's turned bad, man. It's turned really bad. Fury's done a deal with Dana to stage it in America. Wow, Hasim Ratman, 53 years of age, looking to come back. Is he serious? Yeah, he probably is. What, does he need the dough? Who's going to license him, though? Who's going to license you? Yeah. Look, good finish by Teremoana. But was Savage really hurt? Or did he want to? I don't think he wanted to take no more. He could have got up. He definitely could have got up. They have to be gearing up to go to New York. I'm not listening to what Eddie Hearn is saying. They have to be gearing up to go to New York. If they've already put deposits in the MSG, they have to be gearing up to go to New York. What are you going to do? Say no? Come off it, man. Like, why did Eddie come out and say there's going to be problems, breach of contract? Why don't you go and phone Turkey and talk to him in public? Why are you coming out giving that as public information? Coppin, how does Teremoana compare to Leo Tank and Frank's Irish heavyweight? Or that Alanian kid? That's a good question. That's a good question. Anthony was laughing at my dress down of Ade. Do you think I went too far? Does anyone think I went too far? Or was I fair? Was I objective? Or was I trying to give critical, constructive critique? Or did I go too far? Tone doesn't care where they fight. Neither do I, to be honest. Neither do I. I'll wake up and watch it. That's what I'll do. I'll wake up and watch it. I know I'll wake up and watch it. It'd be no problem at all. Anthony says it would be a massive failure if Fury and AJ don't fight in Britain. He says, no, I don't think you went too far. It was all constructive and quite diplomatic, in my humble opinion. I tried to be. I tried to be constructive. I did. You know what I mean? Appreciate that. October says, no, I thought you were pragmatic. Appreciate that, October. I did try. I didn't like some of the stuff I saw on Twitter. It wasn't good, to be honest. It really wasn't good. I don't know why people think doing that helps. I don't think it helps at all. You know, it doesn't help. But this is the thing, though. This is the thing. You can't boxing, yeah. amongst dudes for the most part. I know women support boxing, but they're not as toxic in their analysis as dudes. Dudes will really go for it. You say something what they deem as goofy, then I tell you what, man. I know it's not on the scale of a BBC podcast, but when I used to do that tail of the tape, we done tail of the tape on a few fights, and it was one of my most popular items that I used to do. People used to love the tail of the tape. When you're going to do tail of the tape, or when you're going to do was it the critical looks? The critical looks were very popular. When we done the tail of the tape of Nicholas Walters versus Vasyl Lomachenko, right? Like I said, right? I didn't participate, right? There were a few criterias I used to list out. So it was skill set, jab, stamina, ability to take the punch, power, resume, etc. And I would list the criterias, and I'd have a couple of channels in there saying, okay, who do you think ranks higher in this criteria? So I didn't participate. I did not participate. And even though I didn't participate, right, I took so much stick. I couldn't believe the stick I was taking. And then I realized then that you got to be on point all the time, man. Like whatever goes out there, whether someone else edits it or not, it's your brand on the line. It's your brand. And there's no running away from that. You know what I mean? And Ade's got to take it on the chin that whatever came out of his mouth and came out of Emily's mouth. They should make sure that kind of content don't get out. Because in the boxing community, they're going to shred you alive. If you listen, and I've said it before the Ade thing, so I'm not having to go at it. I said it many times. Some of you need to watch talking about old school boxing, thinking you're going to say revisionist shit and it's going to fly. You need to watch doing that. And it blew up in his face, man. October says Twitter's been brutal. It's been very brutal. Gerard says, no, I don't, Beats. I watched it this morning and it was a brilliant video. You were fair with your analysis, brother. Thank you, Gerard. I tried to be fair. I did try and be fair. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's toxic, Red. It's very toxic over there. Tone said it's painful to listen to clueless boxing pundits. And, you know, when you hear Emily, like, about the pay-per-view, it's not one... It's 1974. Pay-per-view didn't start until around 81 with Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard. And I could even be wrong on that. But it was 80s when pay-per-view started. Anthony says, are they moving the fight to America simply for the numbers? I would say so. I would say so. And I think Eddie knows they're going to the MSG. But he's trying to make out like he's battling for the British fans. It's a bit fake, really, Eddie. You know what I mean? It's a bit corny. You know, I mean, Eddie gave it away. He said that Eddie's AJ's business deals are getting bonuses attached to the fight. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. That Eddie, you talk too flipping much, man. You talk too much. Yeah, it's savage out there, Tone. The internet is savage. It is savage. It is very savage. You gotta have thick skin. And I think like when Ade brought up his upbringing and that's why he doesn't care. That like, listen, you got to stand on principles. You got to stand on the information you give out. Yeah? Because let's keep it real, right? If no one addressed what he said, do you know how much false information they would have put out there? And there's people listening who are hoping to get informed. You can't get everything, right? But you need to do a way better job if you're covering the sport. Like, to me, why would you go anywhere near an old school topic if you're not proficient in old school boxing? Why would you go anywhere near it? See, that's what I wouldn't have did that. Or I would have said, so I don't really know too much about that. So perhaps we can address it in maybe a more light-hearted way. But no, they were talking like they were burnt sugar on the topic, like they knew what they were talking about. And that's when you come into issues. If you're honest, I think if you're honest and say, well, from my limited knowledge of that, I think this, then, you can circumvent a lot of issues. But if you're going in there like, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's savage out there, Tom. Coppin, he says, Arlie and Foreman set the blueprint that any fight can happen in any location. So I'm not bothered where Joshua versus Fury happens. Indeed. Coppin, personally, the whole Wembley thing is getting dull. Yeah, I agree. Derek Clark, the US has 5 times the population of the UK, and I feel they are desperate to have it in America, relevant in the boxing world. Anthony says, online boxing media is full of BUM-lickers for the boxers and promoters. I blame Coogan Cassius for the current trend of unqualified boxing media. You see, Coogan not stupid, right? Coogan wouldn't dare go near them topics, yeah? He wouldn't go near it. Yeah, they don't have the knowledge, Anthony. They don't. And we're just being honest here. They don't. They don't. And it's not like it's something they couldn't obtain. They're choosing not to obtain it. And when it comes to the history, see, the thing is, I keep saying the history is always going to join the dots up, right? No matter like how these modern day outlets just think, yeah, I'm just going to blow up. Okay, you're going to blow up. You're going to make money. But when it comes to moments like this, people are going to look at you and say, "Oh boy, oh you're really lacking." Yeah. Anthony said, "Stand by your work, Mr. Neely Fuller." Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. October said, "I haven't watched any of this to be effed. Only clips on socials." Look, his credibility has took a hit. G-Man probably didn't come out too bad. Emily, I don't think cares. You know what I mean? She probably thought to herself she might have a potential lane in boxing podcasting, and she still might, but she's got to tailor like her capabilities to a more realistic goal. Anthony says Ade needs to stand by his work and not talk about his hard life in response to the critics. No one cares how hard life is anyway. He's a Nigerian living in London. And you see, the thing is, I was going to bring up what you said, yeah? Because, okay, he lives in Stratford. So what? I grew up in Tottenham. Very similar, yeah? I used to have a girlfriend in his ends. I know his ends. It's no different to my ends. And the stuff that I thought I'd be dead by the thing, I'm saying, God, blimey. I mean, listen, all over the country, there is hood culture where we're getting stuck up by guns, knives, robbed. This is for you to bring that up when you're working on DAZN as a grown up. It wasn't a good look to me. I mean, I could bring up, but I don't bring them up. I don't bring up stories of my child. I don't bring them up when I'm on here. I don't bring them, or if I do bring them up, I will bring them up in a more letting you into my world rather than, yeah, this is why I'm like this and this. No. Either you know what you're talking about or you don't. Tone says, when you get pulled up for chatting shit, own it. Yes, indeed. October says she's unqualified. See, you set the level there because it's not you're unqualified, right? You know where you're proficient and where you're not. Yeah. And that's okay. That's fine. That is fine. Listen, there's great channels who don't do old school analysis. There's great channels, better than my channel, who don't do old school analysis. All right. But if you're going to go in that lane, it's muddy water. Do you know how much people I've jammed up in lives? You guys have heard me. You've heard the amount of people I've jammed up in lives trying to talk stuff that they don't know and make revisionist history, and I've jammed them up. How many times have I did that? And here's the thing. When I don't know stuff, I say I don't know. I just say I don't know. Well, I don't know everything. I know this, I know that. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know everything. Like when G-Man spoke about Hulk Hogan getting the grills, the deal for the grills before George, I didn't know that. October said, I still do what I do, but I've never claimed to be an expert. You do great interviews, Red. Your interviews are really good. You know what I mean? I love your interviews. Copend, he says, Anthony, harsh to blame Coogan, laughing out loud. The real villain is Ellie Suckback. He started it. Copend, I think you could just end the discussion with that choice there. Yeah, like Ellie Setback is horrible boxing media. Absolutely, and I tell him. If he was here, I would tell him to his avatar. I said, Ellie, you are horrible at this. You are such a Mayweather tank fanboy. It's horrible. I hate your boxing analysis. It sucks. It stinks. It's pants. It's comedy. It's a joke. I unsubbed so long time ago. I can't stand Ellie Suckback. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Jeffro, G-Man get on my nerves a while back saying everyone needs to retire. He does that quite a bit, I've noticed. Gerard, he said he'd like it to go to Cardiff so he can travel 32 miles up the road and watch the fight. But that's me being selfish. Of course. At the Millennium. See, and the Millennium don't care if people spill out late in the morning. They don't care about that, like Wembley. Yeah, see, that's one thing you will struggle to find on my channel is me telling boxers to retire. Once you can pass your medical and pass whatever requirements the commission or board have, then I don't tell no one to retire. I never do. Coppin 09. Ellie comes across like a groupie. Sickening. The way he sticks up the Tank and Tank's ducking and even Tank's indiscretions outside the ring. You're just thinking, boy, I really want to punch you in your mouth. Not even being violent. Like, we can see Tank violating individuals on the video. And then you are like, oh, well, Tank, you can't prove it. And Tank's a good guy. And he did, it's just like, Ellie, shut up. Okay, so G-Man wasn't even writing that story, Tone. You're saying that the grill story of Hogan was debunked years ago. It never happened. Few people said that it was a lie. And then there I am, like, even the little bit of credit G-Man got is getting taken back. That podcast was a disaster. But at the same time, it should be a template for anyone in media or thinking about getting into media, right? Whatever you do, right? Whatever you do. Now, let's say this live. Let's take this live, for instance. Yeah, I know what I'm watching. I know it's Teremoana versus Deandre Savage. So it's easy for me to pull up the box record, their records, and do a little study and whatnot. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to comment on the fight. That's easy, right? But you've got to follow that through, right? If you're going to go live, and here's the thing. If you're going to do a podcast for an hour or longer than an hour, the chances of you goofing up are pretty high, right? So study what you're going to talk about. Not study, right? Pre-plan what you're going to talk about so you can research it, so Emily can research what they need to talk about, and so can G-Man. And that way, you're going to sound like you're knowledgeable in the topics. Get a range of topics and tell them, yo, this is what we're going to talk about, and this is what you need to be proficient in. Yeah? She shouldn't be coming on there. This is not one of the 10 pay-per-views because you're talking about old school boxing knowledge. So yes, you're going to get found out. There wasn't no pay-per-views back then. And like, oh, he's not a popular boxer because he sold more grills than he made in his fights. Ridiculous. The man set the record for pay-per-views when he fought Evander Holyfield. He set the record. He earned $5 million in one fight against Ali, which was the record. This man broke records, but you're saying he wasn't popular while he was active. He didn't get the grills until he won the title for the second time against Mora in 94. Sylvester, what's up? Gerard, he says, Ellie is terrible. I can't stand to watch him and listen to him. He hasn't got a very punch me in the face attitude. I can't stand him. Yeah, remember James Toney called him Ellie Nutsack, Tone. Yeah, a jock strapper. I remember that. Anthony says that Tone, Hulk was a known liar, so you can't believe the story about him being offered the grill. Besides, the WWF was in the midst of the steroid scandals around that time too. Yeah, when he was telling the kids, take your vitamins, kids, take your vitamins, and all that crap there. You know what I mean? Telling his daughter, if you're going to marry an N-word, at least marry one who's got money. He's just a piece of crap, man. Why we haven't seen Fabio Wardley have an interview since Dubois is what Michael is asking. Well, it's because he's training, man. He's training. He ain't focused on interviews now. He's focused on training camp, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's with Ben Davison working out how to rescue his career. That's his priority. He's got a lot of demons to deal with. Interviews are not a priority for Fabio Wardley right now. He'll do them when necessary. But right now, he's got other pressing matters to deal with. Jeffro says, because Fabio is clever. Fabio don't want to do too much talking. He wants to get in there and put the loss right. That's what he wants to do. Anthony's been asking the same questions. You're assuming it's because of the facial damage. Could be, but, he's got other pressing matters. Gerard says, Tone, yeah, you're spot on. The inventor even said that Foreman was the only celebrity they approached. Emma, she says, Fabio's ego is still bruised. Let him recover. Yeah, I don't think Fabio wants to do too much camera work right now. Because he's in a pressure situation right now, isn't he? He's in a serious pressure situation. You know what I mean? Who was the better pure lyricist, Raz Kaz or Cannabis? I think Cannabis was better on the radio if you just gave him a whole load of beats to rap over. But Raskaz made better songs. I think Raskaz made better songs than Cannabis. It's an interesting one, though. Who's the guy Ben Whitaker is fighting? Something Connor Wallace. I don't know much about him, actually. I've got to do a study on Connor Wallace. Record setting on Saturday, August the 8th. Jake Paul's MVPs. What's her name? Tammy Biot did the unthinkable by becoming a ring world champion after just 5 professional fights, fastest in the history of the belt. Well, don't want to pee on her parade, but you can do that in women's boxing because the gene pool is not that strong. So, hey, hats off to her, but what's the reality? Emma Willis says Wallace is not that good. So you think Ben would just blow him away, yeah? Ben's been blown everywhere on a Ray recently, hasn't he? Anthony says, out of all the boxing media, there was only one guy who asked Fabio about the nasal scar before his last fight and whether it's a problem, which he brushed off. It was an Asian guy from Seconds Out. Yeah, sometimes the media just, I mean, they're a bit hesitant. And I understand it's accreditation, isn't it? It's not like I tell you what, as easy as the media have access these days as before social media, they're under a lot of pressure because if they don't ask tough questions, people online are getting onto them. And if they do ask tough questions to people like Dana or Ben Shalom, they're likely to get barred. Yeah, there are a lot of bum lickers that need no truth. Emma says anything above 147 in women's boxing is a farce, to be honest. That's actually true, you know. It's kind of true. I mean, the heavyweight division in women's boxing and light heavy is a farce. I mean, the light heavyweight division is the heavyweight division, isn't it? I think you have to be over 12 stone to be a heavyweight in women's boxing. Yeah, the interesting. It's going to be an interesting rematch to see if Fabio can make them adjusties like he normally does. Uh-oh. The Zone is raising its US monthly flex price again. They'll pay 35 a month, 419 if kept for a full year. Mm-mm. Let me hear what Gareth. It goes to New York. I'll see it than not see it. They don't think her and Joshua will walk away unless they feel they don't want his legacy wrecked by losing to Anthony Joshua in New York. I think that's a fair analysis by Gareth. Anthony Joshua, like, hey, he finished the fight well against Prenga, but Prenga having him in such issues in the first round. it wouldn't shock me if they wanted to stall it for a little while. Joshua's been through a lot, man. I think Eddie Hearn is realizing that. Anthony says Fabio hit Dubois with his best shots and the guy got up twice. That has to play on Fabio's mind. Yeah, Daniel, when he hit the canvas, he didn't panic, did he? He took his time and used the count to his advantage and recovered well from the shots. The thing is, though, when Fabio scored that right hand knockdown so early in the fight, he just went right hand happy, didn't he? Like his jab went out the window. Daniel's transition with defense by taking that step back and then coming back with his own double jab was pretty impressive, wasn't it? October said he said that Fabio's got until November to recover. I don't think that would happen this year. But where can Fabio go? He done the right thing, taking the rematch, because how long would it take him to get a title shot if he declined this one? You know what I mean? And sometimes as a boxer, you've got to put yourself under pressure. You've got to put yourself under pressure to get the best out of yourself. It's just an occupational hazard that comes with the job. October also says she doesn't care about accreditation. I ask what I want. Good on you. You know what I'm saying? See, I think what it is, October, there's a way to do it and there's a way not to. Like I've seen, when the little time I did media, I've seen some people approach it totally with the finesse of a bull in a china shop. And you say, you can't do that, bro. Emma, did Gareth talk on Fury betraying the British public? Of course he didn't, Emma. You know what I mean? You know, we all know Gareth is a Fury fanboy. Of course he didn't. Coppin, the fact the fight is in November makes me think the rematch clause said it had to happen within 6 months. Oh, Fabio being rushed. Yeah. Emma Willis says Fabio was so bad in that fight. I couldn't believe it. All he did was spam the right hand. It was pure lunacy. Yeah, it was. It was. It was a suicidal strategy in the end. Gerard said Fabio was too right hand happy. He just kept throwing and missing by a mile. I was shouting at the TV for him to stop doing that. Mainly as I had a bet on him. Yeah. Mr. Doc, I'm hesitant to write Fabio off because every time I do, he turns around and knocks dudes out. But I think Daniel's got too much experience. Bruce Gass, what's up, Bruce? Says good morning to Mr. Doc. Anthony said, that's a good point, Beats. There seems to be a long queue for a shot, even when Usyk had the belts. Yeah. You know, like, you take yourself out of that immediate rematch, then it's a lot of politics, isn't it? Gerard says, Gareth is our version of Ellie. Oh, gosh. October said, I agree, Beats. It's the only true fight there for him. Yeah, like, he's not a young kid no more, is he? He's not a young kid. And it's a good payday, too. Let's not forget, these guys ain't fighting just for the love of it. Jeffro, thing about Fabio is that he is bigger on the inside than on the outside. Coppin, he says, does Fabio have the boxing education to be anything but right hand happy in the rematch? Well, in one camp, it's going to be difficult to bridge the gap in skill. But sometimes skill and strategy do have a separation. So it depends on how he approaches it. How can he approach it that the skill gap doesn't tell like it did in the first fight? Because even in the Fraser Clark fight, I won't say there was a skill gap, but Fraser had the better jab and he boxed better than Fabio. And then in the second fight, he totally wrecked Fraser, didn't he? Mm-mm. Looking forward to it though. October, laughing at Emma asking, did Gareth ask about Fury betraying the British public? Look, he done a deal with Trump and Dana. Well, I'm saying he did. My theory is, and a lot of people's theory is, that he done a deal with Trump and Dana, smooth over his legal issues with his visa and stuff, because he does have business interests in America. So of course he's saying he wants to fight in America. Jeffro says Fabio has a big heart. Yes, he does, but beatings like that can blunt a fighter that next time around they don't have the same fire. They don't have the same fire after taking a beating like that. Anthony, do I have any thoughts on the Torma versus Hergovich? I think that the scar tissue over Hergovich's left eye looks quite bad. It looks like it may go anytime he's in a hard fight. I definitely agree with you on the scar tissue. I definitely agree with you. He's had quite a hard run, hasn't he? He's had quite a hard run. That's for the vacant IBF title, right? Let me go to the rec and see what his run's been. You know, from Daniel Dubois, even the Joe Joyce fight was pretty tough. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, he just wet up Joe Joyce." No, it was a tough fight. The Dubois loss, the Joyce fight wasn't easy. The David Adelaide fight was tough. The Dave Allen fight, well, that was a bit of a break from the tough fights. And then obviously this Moses Atoma fight is one where he's literally on the cusp of getting lit up pretty bad. Yeah, I think the footwork is where Fabio is going to struggle. Daniel always puts his feet in good places to punch. That's his strength, isn't it? Like some people think, oh, Daniel just big and strong. No. That don't work in boxing. If you're just big and strong in boxing, you're going to get lumped up. You're going to get lumped up. If you don't have technique, if you don't know how to use your feet, if you don't have a boxing IQ, you get lumped up. Being big and strong don't work. He didn't beat AJ because he was big and strong. He outboxed AJ, which shocked me. I'm not going to lie, it shocked me. I was like, bloody hell, I didn't realize he could box like that. I didn't realize AJ was a little bit limited like that. Emma just wants to see Moses take a legit punch for the first time. Well, Moses is still out there saying that his chin will never get tested. He's not trying to get his chin tested. A lot of people want to see Moses' chin get tested. No, Moses don't want to go for that. Mr. Doc, he says, Hergovich is going to get flatlined. Punch is too wide. Yeah. Good point, that, Doc. I'm looking forward to going live. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward. And I expect all you guys to be on my live watching it with me. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to watch with October. Coppin, what if any improvements bar cardio has Abel Sanchez made to Hergovich? Hergovich is set in his ways, and we've seen his limitations against the likes of Dempsey McKean. When he's under stress, he rabbit punches, he falls inside, and like Doc said, he punches wide. Joyce actually lit him up at times. Yeah. Thick skin. Yeah. And his stamina. Remember his stamina against Dubois? Just like he started. Remember, he started well against Dubois. He looked like he was coasting against Dubois. And then all of a sudden, like, it's weird. Boxing's weird, isn't it? Boxing's weird. Like, first 4 rounds or so, Hrgovic looked world class against Dubois. Dubois looked like a fish out of water. And look, styles make fights, isn't it? Like, wow. The skin under Hrgovic's left eye looks very jagged, quite nasty, says Anthony. Hrgovic going to get flatlined, says Doc. Tone, I like Hrgovic. He lets his hands go. Not sure if Moses will be there to be hit often enough for him, though. Yeah. Could be just speed. Speed kills. I mean, if Moses gets it right, Hrgovic could go in the first, bro. I'm not even lying. October, CTE is real. Fighters need saving from themselves. Look at young Patrick Day, RIP. More recently hospitalized. Raven Chapman in sparring and Lee Reeves post KO in the fight. And you know what is what really troubles me? Yeah? You know what really troubles me? And a lot of you know, right? How much I bang on that it should actually be illegal. It should be illegal for the zone. Frank Warren. I'm not talking about no other country. I'm talking about Britain. The other country, you do what you want. I'm talking about our country here, right? You make so much money out of boxing, right? And you don't have something in place that they get instant insurance. You got GoFundMe's. GoFundMe's. How can you be in a sport like this and you have worse insurance than footballers and rugby players? And look, I'm not saying the sports ain't dangerous. Golfers probably have better insurance than you. Oh, we raised all this money for Raven. Yeah, great. Where's our insurance? Where's the union? Where's the insurance? Where's the union? And they won't bring this up. They won't talk about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Such a dangerous sport. I've just never understood it. I've been watching boxing for so long with the British Medical Association trying to close down the sport. Nowadays it's Headway. Now it's this that organization. For so long because of the dangers of the sport. And yet, you go in that ring into sparring or Lee Reeves, you've got to rely on GoFundMe. What about the black guy who was on a small hall show in the United Kingdom? Where was his GoFundMe? Where was his fundraiser? So basically, if you're not on a high-profile card, right, where everybody, oh, isn't it sad? You got to fend for yourself. Absolutely ridiculous. They should ban the sport. To be honest, they should ban the sport. I'll be honest with and I'm a boxing fan. They should ban it. They should really ban the sport. They should close it down, right? If you're not going to put insurance in place for them boxers, and anyone who comes out and say it's up for the boxers to do it, boxers don't do that. That's not what boxers do, right? Boxers don't do unions. They don't do insurance. They don't do provisions on their cash. That's why they need a union. They need protecting from themselves, right? They should close the sport. They should shut it down. It's barbaric. It's absolutely barbaric that you go in that ring and get injured. Oh, we put a GoFundMe up. Fuck you. And the British Boxing Board and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren and the Zone. It's barbaric. This is a small country, right? You should be able to get insurance for all fighters that go in the ring, even if it means you've got to like have a smaller pool of fighters going in there, right? Because if they're going to do that, they're going to have to make the medicals really stringent because they don't want to give insurance to somebody who's vulnerable already, with someone who's already got a propensity for hematomas and injuries, right? But that's what needs to be done. Like when I heard Raven got injured, and I was just like, flipping hell. And then I've got to read she a GoFundMe, and then see people think because they know Raven, we see her and oh, it's Raven Chapman. They all assume that you're making purses. Like she's struggling to make ends meet. Like you are, like I am. These boxers come from look. Let's start dealing with the practicalities, bro. Right? Let's start dealing with the practicalities. These boxers live in the inner cities of Britain. Liam Cameron, right? He didn't know he had to pay taxes on his purses, right? Because most of these boxers have never went on the HMRC website. Never had to do it. I've had to do it for years, right? And a lot of you in the comment section have had to do it. A lot of the boxers go spend off their money. And then when HMRC realize, all right, come around and see how much you earned for this year, that year, and that year. And listen, see, the thing is, a lot of people think, oh, well, the pay taxes that year, I've won. No, you have not won. No, you have not won. It could come back around in 3, 4 years, 2 years, or whatever, and you need to pay up. You need to pay up. And it wasn't until Liam Cameron, right, got involved with that boxing charity, right? Until he got involved in the boxing charity where they made him like president, or not president, but you know, he's got a good role in it, right? He realized, oh, the woman said, oh, you know, you got to pay HMRC. And then he learned how to use the HMRC website. And then they had people in there probably help to write off some of his expenses of what he's got to pay out for training, supplements, diet, and that. And then he started paying his taxes. How do you think a lot of them boxers go broke? Floyd's issues is with taxes. This shouldn't be happening to Floyd, to be honest, right? Joe Louis, how do you think? Listen, Joe Louis earned a fortune in the ring. He was world champion from 1937 to 1948, right? And when the IRS came after him across the pond, he was finished. They wiped him out. Wiped him out. And him like a mug, thinking he's going to be a good Negro boy, right? He go and gave half of his purses to the war effort, right? And they stuck him. They still stuck him. He gave a whole load of his purses to the war effort, and they stuck him for his money. That's how a lot of boxers get stung. They need a union. There's no, they need a union. They need a union. Don't need Simon Jordan talking crap. We need a union. And it needs to start this year. And if I had a position in the media, forget accreditation. You're going to hear me talk. You're going to hear me talk. It's a joke. Absolute joke. October says private medical health insurance should be part of the purses. Let me calm down. Yeah, you're right. It should be. It should be. Somebody says boxing is a business disguised as sport. Look at that Lee Reeves kid. I think he's still in critical. How long do you think that money, that GoFundMe money is going to last? It's not going to last. It ain't going to last. Look at Gerald McClellan, right? All his purse for what he earned against Ben got ate up, and anything they raised, he got ate up. Hey, it's great people are raising the money, but that should just be extras. All that should be is extras to help them. That should be extras on top of their insurance premiums. Anthony says, totally agree. Beats, it's a human badger baiting. Yeah, they should close this. It's like, there's no way you should go in that ring, right? And people talking about the Muhammad Ali Act and shit. And when you address things, do you realize, right, that if you're a Zuffa fighter, you have to come out with a purse. Even if it's not that much, you have to come out with a purse. And they don't understand how much boxers go in the ring and don't get a purse. Some of them actually pay to go in the ring. And it just shouldn't happen. Yeah, the British Boxing Board of Control should make sure they're all insured. Of course they should. Disgusting. Anthony says, barbarism, and I'm a former boxer myself. It has no place in modern society. That is no way to treat people. Of course not. Of course not. It's a joke. No gum shield boxing at Beats. I once mentioned on Talk Sport comment that AJ and Joe Calzaghe were working on care homes for retired boxers. Next thing, my comment got deleted and I was put on timeout. They don't. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. The British Boxing Board of Control, when they were asked about a union for boxers on Talk Sport, you know what that Robert W. Smith said? Oh, well, we'd be in a compromising position if we were to do that. Said you can get around it if you want to get around it. If you want to get round things, you get round things. If you don't want to get round things, then you don't get round things. Stop bullshitting the people. Yeah? You can find Chris Eubank Jr. for how much? And you can't put up a bloody union? Stop it, mate. Yeah? We have a prime minister. We have a democracy here. You can speak to people in government. Yeah? You can speak to the guy in charge of sports over here in private. And it's not no conflict of interest. And you can find ways around to do it, but you don't want to do it. Anthony says, I can't disagree with a single word. No union means slavery exploitation. That's all it is. It's slavery. It's slavery. And remember when Barry said about slavery contracts? Remember the slavery contracts back in the day? Yeah, because you're a mug. You're an absolute mug doing that job. Emma Willis, the board needs to implement, but also private insurance is cheap as £20 a month. £20 a month is not going to cover you. That is baseline health insurance. That like these are combat sports we're dealing with, right? What they need to do, right, is get the union going and have their insurance policy in play where it's earning insurance, where it's sponsored and whatnot, and it's generating enough money, right, that when a fighter falls on hard times because he's injured in the ring, or she, that they're looked after. And then we can talk about GoFundMes. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Emma, what you're not understanding, Emma, yeah? What you're not what you're not getting, Emma, right? You sound like an educated individual. A lot of people in this country are not, and it's not just boxers. A lot of people are working dangerous jobs on building sites and have no health insurance, right? I had to tell a kid the other year. He used to play Sunday League. Yeah, I love Sunday League. I said, boy, you should stop playing football. You know that. And he said, what? I said, you got children, yeah? You got children. So if you get injured, yeah? If you get injured playing football, how are you going to work and how are you going to help your kids? And he stood there looking at me and he didn't have an answer. He didn't have an answer. I said, if you're going to play football, you need to get, like Emma said, get some health insurance, right? Get some health insurance. Bruce Gass, I thought you had universal health care over there. Bruce. I tell you what, the NHS is on its knees. It's on its knees. It's struggling. It's struggling. October says she pays 170 family premium. Boxers due to the sport probably would be the same for one fighter, but these fees can be negotiated. Yes, see, if they've got a union, they can negotiate a fee for how much cover they've got, right? Exactly. You go to the insurance company when you're a union and you negotiate a fee for head injuries, this injury, that injury, and this injury. And it should be there automatically. There shouldn't be no GoFundMe. Hey, listen, like I said, the GoFundMe extras, that's just generosity. That's great. Bruce, you could end up, if you don't have private healthcare, you could be waiting months to get treated for cancer, for all types of ailments and illnesses out here. Yeah? People finding their parents like stuck in the corridors. Yeah, they got no wards available. It didn't used to be like that. Emma said these organizations have health insurances, employee benefits. Yeah, I wonder if the people in the board have got health insurance. I wonder if they have. Yeah. Emma, she says she uses private to skip the nonsense. This is what I'm like. A lot of the boxers, yeah. Like I say, they don't even they don't know about they're not they need the advice. They need the advice and they need just simple things just to keep them a little like children, I've got to say. But boxers need to be looked after a lot more because they're not like the vast majority are not capable of doing it without. They need advisors, man. They need it. They need it. Like Liam Cameron, he'd be in serious trouble right now, financially, if he didn't join. What were they called? It, but I can't remember what the organization's called. You know how much boxers are earning decent purses now? And they haven't thought about the tax man. They thought about buying a new car. They thought about buying this and buying that, buying clothes and the high life. Yeah. A lot of the boxers, they're not thinking about getting injured. They're thinking about winning and how much money they're getting paid. They're not thinking ahead. And that's a reality we have to deal with. We can't just say, well, you need to go and be more responsible. If they were doing that, we wouldn't need to think about how like, it's crazy. I mean, you're a professional footballer. You've automatically got the health cover in your contract. And it's nowhere near as dangerous as boxing. Jeffro said, man, there's enough money in boxing for them to have their own hotspots, hospitals. Hey, at least Dana has some injury cover at Zuffa. They've got some injury cover. Does the British Boxing Board of Control have that? Yeah, it's on its knees, as Anthony says. Long waiting lists. It's not perfect, but I suppose it's better than nothing. If you go private, you cut out the waiting and bureaucracy bullcrap. Yeah. It's a disgrace, really, though. I mean, the sport, the way it's governed, yeah. See, people always think things are all right until they're not all right. Do you think Michael Watson, before he fought Eubank in 91, was going to go through the catastrophe that he went through? Let's remember what happened to Michael, yeah? After Eubank won the fight, right? They took him to North Middlesex Hospital from White Hart Lane. They didn't have a neurosurgical unit there. So they had to drive him to Barts. How much miles up the road, right? They lost precious time. And he's never really fully recovered. If they'd got him there earlier, who knows how his recovery would have been, right? So the board, they had to put in all the list of improvements they had to put in. But it doesn't stop there, though. That was 35 years ago. Now we need to look about the insurance for boxers. The board can't just get away with saying, "Oh, we're covered." No, no, it's just not right. It's not right at all. Raymond Chapman is 30 years of age. That guy Lee Reeves is 30. You know what I mean? Like Al Heyman helped Pritchard Colon with a lot of his hospital bills. Pritchard's mum was saying. You know something, what people ain't looked at with Anthony Joshua, right? The punch resistance looks bad, right? But do you see the ease he throws them punches and knock that guy out? Like, his punches are like water. They're like water. And he's not like straining for backlift to put power in them or anything. They're like water, but they're lethal. They're absolutely lethal. Saeed, he said, bang on beats. Much appreciated. Yep. It's about time. October said, that's why you need exceptional management. If you don't have good management, you should stay well clear of no matter how talented you think you are. You could think you're the most talented boxer that was ever born. If you have no exceptional management, you should stay away from that sport. You should stay away from it. You see Noah McKellian's management, they saved him, right? People talk about the Muhammad Ali Act. You're trying to screw him out of a purse against Jaya Pattaya that is vastly superior to what you get for fighting David Benavidez. Isn't that a conflict of interest from the promoter? You're going to make him fight for a lower purse than the other offer. But his management stopped it dead in its track. If you ain't got good management, stay the F away from that ring, bro. Stay the F away from it. Yeah? Stop thinking that, yeah, I'm going to conquer everything with my hands. Stay away. Stay away from the ring. Anthony said, for all the criticism that football gets for the levels of corruption, the sport looks after the players, especially in Britain. The PFA goes hard for their members. Yeah. In fact, all the associations in all the countries do a good job. And obviously the PFA is the template with Jimmy Hill. Yeah. It was a footballers association that started that Bosman rule with the transfers. It's not like the league did it. No, the footballers association starts all the good shit that happens for the players. You need. I tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. I'm a bit uncomfortable watching the sport not having a union. I'm a bit uncomfortable with it. I'll be honest with you. I think it's because I'm an old man now. I'm just like, you know what I mean? No, that's not right, is it? It's not right. That's just not right. Emma said, time to be proactive rather than reactive. Indeed. Said America is even worse. Oh, America's horrible. Because you've got all them backwater states as well, where it's just not regulated at all. Very dangerous. You know how much ringers go in the ring in American rings? Yeah. People pretending to be fighters. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they're allowed oxygen in American rings because they reckon the oxygen might blow up. I think that's what Paulie Malignaggi said. October said, "Yep, Emma, they don't have brain scans as much as our fighters do. It's disgraceful." Yeah, Joshua very powerful. Joshua got some powerful punches, bro, and he doesn't have to throw too much. He doesn't have to lean back to really hurt you. You watch that combination that put that guy out. It's like, flip it now. But then again, he might not have had a great chin. He wasn't exactly top draw opposition. Mr. Doc, he thinks AJ and Fury could be a classic because of their age and vulnerabilities. Fury's legs are gone. AJ's chin is in question. Tyson doesn't hit like that. AJ is going to have to get to mid-range to inside. Emma, it is an absolute disgrace they don't have oxygen at ringside in America. Yeah, it's an absolute disgrace. When Paulie said that, I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. Tell you what, man. I love the sport, but like I said, this version of me, I question, like, I do question. Yep, Coppin's got it. The PFA is the world's longest standing professional sports persons trade union, founded in 1907. Exactly. 1907. Look how long they've had that in place, bro. Look how long that is. That's crazy, man. And their sport's nowhere near as dangerous as boxing. Brutal, man. Brutal. Tyson Fury's birthday, huh? How old is he? 38? I've had days in the office where I've cried, been broken, where I couldn't handle the pressure, where I was just thinking I can't do this no more. That's where most people fail or stop. But the setbacks and doubters, that's what's fueled the fire. Now I'm a happy man because my kids are blessed from the work ethic I've put in. And that stems from my dad. Yeah, if you get thumped up by Ryan, bro, I mean, long way back. Who is this Kate Scott? Can this Kate Scott give Clarissa a good fight? I've never heard of her before. That don't mean anything. Like, women's boxing sometimes, man. You know what I mean? Like when you get fights like Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, I understand it. It's competitive. I know what they can both do, right? Can she fight? This Scott, is her name Kate Scott? What's her name? Tickets ain't selling either. There's a whole load of tickets left. So there's no anticipation for these fights. October, well, there's a gap in the market. Healthcare is an essential. Yep. Anthony, I agree with you, Beats. I question my own morality as to why I still watch boxing, knowing what I know about it. I mean, it's like, and it's the ignorance as well. Like people talk about that Muhammad Ali Act so much. And you know what a lot of people think? They think the Muhammad Ali Act is there to protect 4-round fighters, 6-round fighters. No, Muhammad Ali Act is to protect pay-per-view revenue, which is a part of the revenue where they can get around the Nielsen reports and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of hidden profits in pay-per-view revenue. That's why you need to know what the TV deal is and all the other intricacies, right? The Muhammad Ali ain't that for everybody. Emma Willis says that Connor's losing. Well, that's how everybody's got it. Although Bomac said that he's likely to knock Ryan out, but he might have motives while he's saying that. Anthony said, I agree with you, Beats. I question my morality as to why I still watch boxing, knowing what I know about it. Boxing is just arms house, man. Clarissa just makes herself. I don't want to say that really, but you know, you're talking about you can beat Rowley even up to now. I think it just puts people like you just do too much, man. Just do too much. All right. I think we're gonna call this one a day. Emma says Ryan is no good either, but the weight cut will finish Ben. Well, not long to go. September the 12th. September the 12th. What am I doing there? All right. Have a good afternoon, people. I'm out of here. Peace.